been asked to announce that if anyone wants to add names to the memorial, that is allowable. You'll have to make arrangements through the committee of the village. I don't know which, but you can do that. I know of a lot of people, shouldn't say a lot, but I do know veterans that are not on the memorial just because of the constraint of time. Also, Bruce Morton is compiling a record of this, photographic record, maybe even a video record, and that will be available in the form of CD. At this time, I would like to introduce Kent Slater. Kent is not a native of Bowen, but he's about as close as you can get. He's from Augusta, about halfway between the two cities. He's an attorney. He was a member of the Illinois General Assembly and was a circuit court judge, which is now retired. That's all he asked me to say, and it's all he allowed me to say. So at this time, I give you Kent Slater to give the dedication speech to the memorial.
My fellow veterans, Mr. McCone, Mayor Ramsey, Pastors Mahaffey and Grinnell, and ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to address you today at this Veterans Memorial Dedication Ceremony. And I can't help but feel that any American would be honored to speak at this ceremony, which honors the sons and daughters of Bowen and surrounding communities who, over the course of modern history, have answered our nation's call to duty. It seems to me that it's entirely appropriate that this event takes place here in Bowen on Memorial Day. In 1868, just after the end of the Civil War, General John Logan, who was then Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, which later we would recognize as the American Legion and the VFW, issued an order that Memorial Day exercises should be held at appropriate places throughout the nation in order to honor America's war dead. It was to be a day of national mourning, but it has become, over the course of time, much more than a day of mourning for America. It is also a day of remembrance. And today, Americans from all walks of life pause to honor the memory of America's greatest patriots, the men and women who gave their lives so that we might enjoy the liberties and freedoms that have so long been a part of the United States of America. A grateful nation in Bowen, Illinois, in Washington, D.C., and in towns and cities throughout this nation says today, thank you, we will never forget you, we will never forget your sacrifices on our behalf. But this Memorial Day here in Bowen, Illinois, thanks to the extraordinary efforts of several community leaders, we honor all of our veterans, deceased and living, with this permanent marker which bears the names of 383 persons in the Bowen community and surrounding areas who in one way or another have answered our nation's different calls to arms. It is important that we remember this community's past with this memorial. This permanent memorial stone gives meaning to the term community and its people and the sacrifices made by this community's veterans. The heroic sacrifices of all those who participated in one of the armed services in support of this country should not be forgotten. The efforts and sacrifices of the early Americans over 200 years ago established this nation. But the ideals of freedom and self-government upon which this nation is founded have been challenged time and again. Almost every generation of young Americans has been asked to answer their nation's call to arms. And time and again, the Bowen community has responded by sending its best and its brightest into the fray. No matter what war, our present conflicts, Vietnam, Korea, World War II, World War I, the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, the War of 1812, the Revolutionary War, America has time and time again called upon its small towns and communities like Bowen. And Bowen and its surrounding communities, each time the generations have responded to freedom's call. We are gathered here today in Bowen, Illinois, just as others are gathered in towns, villages, and cities throughout this nation, to pay tribute to those who gave their lives so that America might live. But we honor today all of our veterans, men and women, living and deceased, who unselfishly gave of themselves and fought for the ideals of this country. They fought for freedom, for liberty, and equal justice under law. It is because of their dedication to this country, and this country's dedication to the cause of freedom, that today we are able to enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to every single American under our marvelous Constitution. Those from this Bowen community whose names appear on this memorial, whom we honor today, certainly did not worship war. They did not fight for personal profit. They did not make the different wars in which they participated. They responded to a duty to defend freedom and liberty, which fell to their generation. Perhaps the wrong age, at the right time, these veterans each made their own personal individual sacrifices that were required for preservation of our way of life and freedom. Memorial Day is supposed to be a day of remembrance and national mourning, but we do little credit to our honored dead if all we do is praise and mourn for them today. To give full credit for their sacrifices, those of us who are the veterans and the citizens of this great nation must rededicate ourselves to the principles for which they fought. It is our sacred duty to pass on to future generations of Americans the legacy of freedom. And today is the day, in my opinion, when we should remember those among us who belong to what I consider to be America's most exclusive fraternity, our veterans. Every person who has honorably served this country in time of war holds a special place in our hearts. When I served in the Illinois House of Representatives in the 1980s, the American Legion distributed potential speeches for the members to present at Memorial Day events. One of them included a reading I'd like to share with you today. It's entitled, "Who is the Veteran?" He's the one who looks the world in the eye and who feels an extra heartbeat when the flag goes by. He comes in all assorted races, sizes, and shapes. He's big, short, tall, small. He's the doughboy of World War II. He's the doughboy of World War I, the GI of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. He is a sailor, a soldier, a flyer, a Marine. He's a regular, National Guardsman, and reservist. He's artillery, infantry, medic, engineer, armored, ordnance, and supply. He's a person who loves peace because he knows the cost of war. He's proud of his American heritage, alert to his American present, and confident of his American future. He's a first-class fighting man, a citizen soldier, and a peacetime leader. The veteran is America's most honored and valued citizen. America's veterans, and today specifically those whose names are on this memorial, should be considered America's noblemen. Their contributions are immeasurable, and it is because of them and what they did for us that today we have the right to expect, to appreciate, and enjoy the freedoms of this great nation. So as we leave this dedication ceremony today, let us each go forth to face the future with our heads held high, and let each of us make a solemn vow to remember those who have kept us free, and let us pledge to keep the future of our country bright with the pure light of freedom, and let us renew our faith in the true spirit of America. Let us bless the memory of each of these 363 American veterans whom we honor here today with this beautiful memorial. For these were and are great Americans. This community today permanently acknowledges their immeasurable and remarkable contributions and says to each of them, thank you.